Hi guys, so in this video we'll make a shop system. So I'm going to show you what the final product looks like and then we can get into it. So I made a food stand and basically it will sell me different food items. So turkey leg, hamburger, Bloxy Cola, and then I can hit this X button to close out of it. Right, so, and it'll take away from my money. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so as per usual, we will start with the setup. I've linked the entire project in the description. Then I've got another link with the assets that I use. So I'll take these assets into my game so you can click on the description, but I've got it in my inventory. So I'll just load that in and it'll give us the assets. So for tutorial purposes, I'm going to delete the scripts, but I'll save the GUI, the vendors model, the remote event, and the foods folder. So let's delete these scripts here. And we're good to go. So now we have all the assets we need. I'll just drag these out into the workspace for now and delete that folder. Actually, no, I'll just save them in there so it's neater. Okay, so now we're going to drag the GUI, the shop GUI, into starter GUI. Then we're going to want to move the vendors model into workspace. And then we're going to want to move the remote events into replicated storage. And then we can move the foods folder to replicated storage as well. And then I'm just going to delete this because we don't need it anymore. So really quickly, in shop vendor A, I have a script in here. I'm just going to delete that. Okay, so now we can get into the coding. So the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to need a currency to buy our food with. So I'm going to set up a quick leader stats script. I'm just going to put it inside of server script service and call it leader stats. And then I'm just going to do a generic leader stats script. You should already know how to do this. And then we're going to want to get the player parameter. And then we'll do local leader stats is equal to instance.new folder. Leader stats.name is equal to leader stats. And leader stats.parent is equal to the new player. Now we're going to want to make the money int value. So I'll just call this money. And we'll set this to a new int value. And then we'll set the name to money. Then we will set the value to like 300. And then we'll set the parent to leader stats. Okay, so now I have our leader stats script set up. If we play the game, we'll get all of this stuff. We'll get the money in the workspace. I'm actually just going to delete that there. Okay, so the next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to make a module script containing the details of all the shops, such as the name of the shop, the food items, details about the food items, etc. And we'll name it all shop details. So I'll just make a new module script, all shop details, and I'll just call this, just change module to all shop details as well. So now that we have that, we're going to want to open up this table here. And so the first thing we're going to want to do is I'm just going to make a few new lines. And then we'll call this workspace.vendors.shopVendorA, right? And then that will be setting up like a dictionary here. So the shop name will be like superfood, I don't know. And then now we need to make the shop food table, which will contain all of the foods. So I've actually got some set up here. I'm just going to paste these in. And we should actually get a reference to the foods folder first, which is in rep storage. So foods folder is equal to game.replicatedStorage.foods. And then we'll just have to change shop food. We need to put a comma here. So now we're good to go with this table here. And then we just return it, right? I'm just going to format this. there we go. Okay, so now we can move on to the next script. We'll make a local script, and we will place this local script inside of starter player scripts. I'm going to call this load shop, right? So now we're just going to start by getting the player, because it's a local script running on the client. So game.players.local player. Now we'll get the player GUI, which is just a wait for child. And then we will get the shop GUI, which is another wait for child. And I believe we called it, yeah, shop GUI. And then now we're going to want to make a function called load shop details. So basically, load shop details. Basically, what this function will do is, and we're going to want to pass a details parameter. Basically, once these details here need to be loaded onto the GUI, so that this value here needs to be set to the text. This string needs to be the text of this text label. So that's what this will do. It'll load different values of this into this. So I'm just going to get this unhighlighted. Okay, so the first thing we're going to want to do in this function is we're going to want to say shopGUI.main.shopName and then .text is equal to details.shopName. Like I said, we want to set the shop name text to the shop name. Done. Now we're going to make a for loop for index and then food like content container, and then in iPairs shop GUI dot main dot foods get children, oops, spelled that way wrong, get children, and then once this for loop is done, we'll do so local food name, price, food image, and then like the food instance, which is the actual tool. So this is what the food image is, like what will show up on the GUI, like what the food will look like. The price is how much it will cost, obviously, and the name of the food, so turkey leg, pizza, whatever. And so we're just going to set this to, we're going to unpack the table, and I'll explain this in a second what this does. So details dot shop food and then the index. So what this does is basically every time this index is an ascending value, so every time this for loop iterates, index is being plussed by 1. So basically the first index in this shop food table will be set to food name. The second index in this shop food table will be price, and so forth. Food image, third index. Food instance, fourth index of this table. Right. So now that we have that done, we can do, we're going to do, let me just go there. We're going to do food content container dot food name dot text is equal to food name. Now we have that. We can do food content container dot price dot text is equal to price. Now we have that. We'll do food content organizer, and then dot food image dot image, I believe that's the property, and then like RBX asset ID. That's like what you have to begin the image with, and then the food image value. So now we're going to want to set up a mouse click event, because when they click on the food content container, we want to like charge them how much the food item costs, right? So food content container dot, and also every time I'm writing food, if you just replace this with item, you can have like a tools shop basically. Like it doesn't have to be food. Button one click. We're just going to set up a basic event listener. And then we'll do if player.leader stats, because we're going to check if they have enough money. If the value of money is less than or greater than or equal to price, then we will game.replicated storage .purchase item event fire server, and we're going to pass along price and food instance, because it's going to be, we're firing the server so that it can verify so it can verify if they have enough money on the server, and it's going to charge them on the server, and then also it'll cost them the price, and it will give them the food instance. Right, so now we're just gonna, under this, we need to set it to true, right? Because it's not, we need to make it active, so enabled is equal to true. So now we're just gonna do an event listener of game.replicated storage.openShop event. So on client event. So if this server is requesting, if the server, when I say server, there's going to be a script inside of this head here. See, I already put in a click detector for you. We're going to make a script to actually call this openShop event, and this will basically, you'll see, connect function, and now we are literally just going to call load shop details, and we're also going to want to get the shop details parameter and pass in shop details. So what this is doing is, when this guy's head is clicked, because we're going to make a script that will fire this event, on client event we'll load the shop details. That's all it's doing. But now we need to actually make that script. So now we're going to make the script inside of his head. We're going to call this shop, because this will trigger it. And then we're just going to say local shop details, because we want to get this specific shop's details right here, or the specific shop details. We want to get this. So we're going to do shop details is equal to require server storage. Sorry, I'm actually just going to get server storage really quickly. Local server storage is equal to game.getService. Wrong thing. Server storage. Okay, it's equal to server storage dot all shop details. And then we want to get the script .parent.parent, because basically this is a dictionary, right? So this key here, workspace.vendors.shopVendorA, we can follow that path, workspace.vendors.shopVendor. This key is equal to all of this. So if we require all shop details and then go into script.parent.parent, script.parent.parent is also equal to workspace.vendors.shopVendorA, because if the script is here, .parent, that's shopVendorA, which is also equivalent to this key. So that's the best I can really explain it. So now we're going to set up the actual click event. Click detector, mouse click. Oopsies. I need to delete this. So inside of here, we're going to just fire that openShop event, because they've clicked on his head. .openShop event, and then connect. Oopsies, keep doing the wrong thing. Fire client. We're going to fire the client player, and then we're going to pass along shop details, because as we saw here, it requires some shop details in this parameter. So we're going to pass along the argument shop details. Then we're going to want to set up another event, an event listener .purchase item event, and then this will be on server event. And then in this on server event, we will now make the actual what happened here? We will make the actual new item that they bought and give it to them. So we're just going to clone. And then we're going to want to make a couple of parameters here. Player, price, and tool. Because if you remember here, we passed along price and food instance. And then it by default passes along player, and then price and tool. So food clone is equal to tool clone. and then we will set the parent equal to the player dot backpack, and then we will get rid of their money. So yeah, that is the system all laid out. So let's test it now. And now that we've loaded in here, we can click the head of him. Fire client must always be player object. Oh, my bad. We need to get player here. I need to put that parameter there. Okay, if we test it now, we click this here, and then we can buy the different food items, and you'll see it's taking away from our money, and we get the different food items. And I just left in the closed script for you. You can check that out if you want. It is in the GUI. And so now we can eat our pizza. So that's cool. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.